Guys! Did you know that Star Trek is part of the Doctor Who universe? Or is that Doctor Who is part of the Star Trek universe? Or
Just
is it,
what are you on about?
Well, in the last episode, when the Enterprise was captured, if you zoom into the back of the port nacelle, you'll see the unmistakable shape of the TARDIS police box.
Well, I'll be. Guys, this doesn't mean anything.
Well, it means both shows take place in the same universe, Commander. There's proof right there.
No, it doesn't. People are getting way too excited about massive shared universes online when there's actually no need or reason for it.
But it's there, Commander. You can't deny it's there.
You're right, I can't. But it's just a fun Easter egg, Gigi, which doesn't mean anything. And filmmakers have been doing that for decades. Like, would you say Indiana Jones lives in the Star Wars universe?
Well, of course not. That would be absurd.
Really? Because C-3PO and R2-D2 were in a hieroglyph in the Well of Souls. So according to you, those two franchises are joined.
Well...
See how silly that is? There's no reason to merge Doctor Who and Star Trek in any official capacity, and we can happily enjoy the two franchises just fine on their own. Either that, or Han Solo and Indiana Jones are related.
Well, there definitely is a family resemblance.
Okay, so anybody fancy watching a documentary? What do I think of documentaries? I actually love documentaries. But the idea that they reflect an unbiased view of what's being filmed is absurd. Everyone has an agenda, and you can cut a story to reflect that agenda in any number of ways. What did surprise me, though, was how frank the documentarian in this episode was about it. No, not at first. The angle the story was taking actually concerned me at first. What has bothered me a lot with New Trek, really since the JJ movies, is that the core philosophy of what makes Star Trek seems to have been lost, forgotten, or discarded as uninteresting or even boring in favor of flashy visuals and popcorn action. But an optimistic vision of the future can be a powerful thing. How many people became doctors, engineers, scientists, all thanks to the original series? You can't really say that about Star Wars, can you? The idea that some people within the Federation would believe they're in fact living in an empire would really rub Gene Roddenberry the wrong way, I feel. The crazy world we live in today, mired in conspiracy theories, half-truths, and downright lies pushed as facts, should have no place in his vision. His world, his universe, should be mostly devoid of that. I mean, considering how dangerous space is with the Klingons, the Gornans, and who knows what else, you'd expect the Federation to be a beacon of freedom as opposed to someone trying to undermine it with a documentary. Of course, that's what free speech should be about. You should be able to say what you feel, but look around you. It doesn't take a genius to see how free speech has been weaponized lately, to the point you can't trust what's really happening anymore. Conspiracies are everywhere, and because of the way the information is structured these days, what's real and what's a made-up agenda to push you towards some kind of extremism? Can you even tell the difference? And that's what I was concerned about when I started watching What is Starfleet. The main premise should be ridiculous. Is the Federation an empire? Girls don't choose to join an empire. That's your difference right there. Next question, please. But the start of the story really pushes hard that Starfleet is militaristic, aggressive, and adversarial. So the subtext is that those planets don't choose to join, but are somehow coerced and are living under the boot. And I had issues with that, obviously. So with that agenda firmly in play, the documentary focused on one specific mission, where the Enterprise goes in to help a non-Federation world that has been invaded by a hostile enemy. That planet has already lost 19 million lives, and they need the Enterprise help to get cargo from another planet. We're told the cargo has to be towed, and the Enterprise will only be able to move at half impulse during the trip, which is sublight speed. It's not clear where the cargo is originating from, but would it be reasonable to think that it's in another solar system? Which is why the Lunatis need Starfleet's help? So if Tychus B is indeed in another system, it would take years for that cargo to be delivered to Lunati 7 at half impulse, which makes me wonder if the writers understand any of Star Trek's technobabble jargon. Now, as an aside, you have to wonder why they need Starfleet's help at all. They clearly have their own ships, and yes, they are at war, but later on in the story they do deploy one of their warships to check in on what's going on Tychus B. So, if they had a ship to spare, why ask for help? To me, that kind of undermined the whole premise of the story. We also get a Lunati scientist trying to destroy the cargo, but if they know what it is and what it does, shooting at it was the most ridiculous way to try and destroy it. It's good for the mystery at that point in the story, but it totally unravels when we finally understand what's really been going on. So, later we learn the cargo is a sentient being genetically modified by the Illuminati and tortured to turn it into a powerful weapon. Clearly that would be helpful to their defense, but by dragging the Federation into this, even unknowingly, the Illuminati are making them accomplices of abusing a sentient species. I can't imagine how Starfleet wouldn't have known that before agreeing to the mission. That portrays the Federation as ridiculously naive, rather than an empire. At least we do get to see Starfleet at its best, when the crew do their utmost to try and communicate with the creature and realize what's been going on. Starfleet is about respecting all life, after all, not torturing them even for the greater good. That's something the documentary's premise didn't really focus on, and something that an empire doesn't really care about. And then we learn just how biased the documentarian was. Huberto is Ortega's little brother. No, that's no secret, we've known this for a while now. But because he very nearly died at the start of the season, it's made him angry at Starfleet, and he came to this job with a strong anti-Federation agenda, which turns him into a highly manipulative and untrustworthy person. Like, has he been manipulating Uhura all this time? Now, that premise is interesting dramatically, especially when he changes his mind, but it doesn't make sense from the point of view of the story. The Federation chose him to make a documentary to celebrate its centenary. Surely he would have been vetted for the job. Again, that makes the Federation naive, not evil. But an empire would never have allowed that. Heck, if he truly believed they lived in an empire, Huberto's agenda might have found him being transported straight into space. Accidentally, of course. Many accidents happen in an empire. So, at the end of the day, although I see what the writers were trying to do, I don't actually think it worked as intended. Take the last big, grandiose moment, as it were, that what differentiates the Federation from an empire is its people. That's hopelessly naive and misguided. Far too many decent people will do horrendous things in an empire firmly believing they are doing good. That was made abundantly clear with the Mirror Universe, where our heroes were turned into villains solely due to circumstances. And really, look around you and see how easily indoctrination happens and how propaganda gets sway. That's totally the wrong lesson to take here. What should differentiate these two extremes should be their core values and the ethics they live by, their defining principles and their laws. So with that, I'm awarding What is Starfleet? 2 paws. I think that's it. Have you got everything you needed? All right, cheers. Oh, if you'd like to help us out on our mission, do consider joining us through our Patreon. And unlike an empire, you won't be coerced into doing so. Okay, cheers again.